5 things that you should know if you're considering marrying a Dominican woman. Now, none of this is absolute. I'll be speaking in generalities. However, I am hoping that by the end of this, starting with the least important to the most important, I'm going to try to give you an idea of me being a person that has had success in the Dominican Republic. I'm going to try to give you an idea of what you should look for in a wife, not a girlfriend. So if you're seeking girlfriends or just, having fun, it may not be for you. Dominican girls in general are extremely nice and stunningly beautiful. They have a natural femininity that's hard to look over. By far, women are not masculine here. They are extremely feminine, and they expect you to be a gentleman. They expect you to be a gentleman. Now, one thing that is very important is you are what you attract. There's an old saying, behind every good man, there's a good woman. I've always thought to myself, a good man has enough sense to choose a good woman. It would be impossible, let's say for somebody that's smart, let's say President Obama. It would be impossible for him to be with somebody ratchet. He's just not going to choose a bad woman. So the evidence of our choices is a big deal into who we are. If you look at the history of your life, some of those layers are true. We all know people that want to be in relationships, and they'll get into a relationships, and 3 months later they're complaining. They get into another one, they're complaining. And you'll hear these conversations, is she this, she's that, or he's this, or, So, we have to think about that. We have to be considerate of who we are and what we bring. People are often buffeted by circumstances. So as long as that person believes that, then they'll become that. But when people realize they have creative power and they command the soil, the seeds are going to be the seeds that are in that soil will be wonderful. That's when you become the rightful master of yourself. There's that old Proverbs 23:7, 23:6 or 23:7 that goes, as a man thinketh, so is he. How you think is going to manifest itself. It's not going to manifest itself in the way that you talk about yourself, but it's going to manifest itself in your history of relationships. That is one undeniable fact that all of us can't get away from. You got many people who says, I'm a great catch. Ain't caught nobody though. So you can look at the evidence of people's relationships, and especially the old story of what happened. It was him, it was her, it was them. A lot of people say that. Dating a Dominican woman would be a fantastic first step of creating a family if that's what you're looking for. This video may be good for you to listen to. And like I'm going to repeat this, I've had nothing but success in the Dominican Republic. To get the most out of her, you have to be supportive, well intentioned, and thoughtful. Those three things are poignant and very important. But if your intentions are just to have fun again, well, you get what you're looking for. Besides being attractive and charming, Dominican people are generally focused and family oriented. Now, in all honesty, they have some of the same issues that Americans have with fathers in the home. But generally, people love to be around family. I believe that another benefit of dating a Dominican or seeking to marry a Dominican is they are devoted when they are in marriage. You'll have to be able to marry an intelligent, supporting, and loyal woman who values family first. In addition to their beauty and understanding, these women are committed to their partnerships when you're committed to them. Dominican women value close relationships and they make a concerted attempt when you're getting to know them. I think what I'm saying is you have to form a certain type of allegiance, and that allegiance has to grow from there. But you have to promote that into the relationship. You know, men, we like to say that, we want to be the head of a home, or we want to be, the coach and have our wife be on our team. Well, then it's kind of like being a cop or a policeman or a preacher, or, we have to show respect first for other people to respect us. Dominican women, in my opinion, are very good mothers. Her maternal instinct is unparalleled. It's a natural characteristic of a Dominican woman. They have zero trouble caring for their children, zero trouble cleaning the house. As long as you support her, she'll be a fantastic partner. Number 5. I'm gonna go down. Number 5. I was going to limit how I say things, but I have decided not to do that. I'm just going to tell you what I know to be true. Number 5, don't become a pinball machine or cash cow. Do not create a monster. There is an old saying here, and this is a Dominican saying. This isn't an American saying. If you give a Dominican your hand, they'll snatch off your arm. Now, if you create this situation where you're the emergency person or the hand is always out, which is a bad sign, in my opinion, that is a bad sign, being put in that position. You're responsible for me now. I mean, that would be true in a marriage situation to some degree, but even in those situations, you don't want to just be used for your money. That is huge. Like a pinball machine is like this, right? Those old pinball machines, as long as you were putting coins in them, they would light up. hand always out, that is not a good relationship. So do not be a pinball machine. A woman, you have to be with a woman who respects your money. But if you don't respect your money, it is difficult for her to respect your money. You ever go in the store and you see old people and they counting them little pennies? They going through it. They respect that money versus somebody just throw the money on or keep the change. So if you don't respect your money, it's going to be difficult for other people to respect your money. It's kind of like if you don't respect yourself, it's difficult for other people to respect yourself. Don't put yourself in that position. Don't put yourself in that hole. It is going to be difficult to come out of that hole. And, you know, some people who some women who look for, like Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus said, there's a fool born every minute. They're good at it. They're good at it. So if you find yourself trying to vet a person and the hand is always out, you get away from them really quick. That is a bad sign. Do not get yourself involved with a pinball machine. It will go tilt on you really quick. Number 4, teamwork. Teamwork. Whenever there's a relationship, whatever relationship there is, there has to be respect on both sides. A successful marriage thrives on respect and teamwork. If you're searching for the characteristics of a good wife, make sure she is respectful. Respect is huge for men. In addition, a good wife appreciates her husband's efforts, and the husband reciprocates that with respect and love. A woman who encourages her husband as well as respects her husband is a good wife. Women in the Dominican Republic aren't trying to compete to be a man in the relationship. In reference to the mating, being with a Dominican woman, you don't have to really worry about her being a woman and being a feminine wife. A excellent woman usually has a dependable support system. Meaning, I don't think I can think of any powerful woman that doesn't have female friends. I think that is even true for men. I don't see powerful men who don't have. Be careful of a woman who says, I don't have friends. I don't have female friends. You usually won't have to do like household chores, but you have to do your part. You may be expected to take, if not all, the bulk of the bills. That's just how it is here. When a woman is doing teamwork here, I think Dominican women, they don't allow yourself to be, for her to infringe on your personal space. A good woman gives her husband space. We all know that guy that has allowed that girl or that wife from early in the relationship to control his movement. That is a big mistake, and it's a sad place to be in, seeing those guys that they can't even go anywhere. They can't be with their friends. They can't even talk to their friends in private. I think that is self-sabotage usually. If a woman loves a man, if a Dominican woman loves you, and she will respect your personal space. When she notices that her husband needs some alone time, she will just respect his decision. Number 3, you got to live with her for years. Now I know that may not be true for people who may be working, but I'm only giving you some keys that if you want to have success, for me, I'm getting down to the real important variables. You know, that's huge. If it's possible, see her family life. See if she's appreciative. That is huge. A person who is unrequited, you don't need to be with her. And there are Dominican women here who are not appreciative. I always use this story. There are people who just don't have the ability to appreciate. It's not there. You've heard of stories of people who tried to kill their parents for insurance money, and the list goes on. If you had a dog, for instance, just stay with me here. If you had a dog and you fed that dog, and somebody came to the house or whatever, the dog may defend you because the dog may not understand appreciation, but you can see that. But if you had an alligator and you did everything for that alligator eat you one day. I'm telling you, there are people here in this United States, everywhere, that don't have the ability to appreciate. There's a show, 90 Day Fiance, and I think one of the biggest errors is they're not living with these people for years. You don't know this person. You got to see when this person is angry, how they act. You don't want to get with a woman who wants to be out all the time at night. You have to know if she takes her home-based existence seriously. You want to know as much as possible that she's honest. Just an honest person. What better way than to live with them for years? You want to know if she remains positive. There are so many people in the military or truck drivers who've worked for years, but they get along as long as the husband ain't in the house that much. So you want to know all of these things. Dominican women are very sociable, generally, and they love to be around family members. Most Dominican women are enthusiastic about life and being around family. They love to celebrate. You need to know if she likes to be around children. You need to know if she has daddy issues or mommy issues. I'm going to say a little bit about daddy issues. I think people don't understand how important it is in your heart, to have love for your mother. In your heart, to have love for your father. There's so many studies that have been done. There's Sigmund Freud, he's founder of psychoanalysis, came up with a theory years ago called a odious electric complex. It describes a boy's subconscious attraction to his mother, and latter stands for girls having the same subconscious feeling for their fathers. However, when a child misses out on these things in life, they grow up with unresolved issues. There was a study done whereby they looked at these prisoners who didn't have love in their heart for their father. Mother's Day come around, They do Mother's Day card. They ran out of cards, had to go back, get more cards. Father's Day come around, they had a surplus of cards. Just as there is a correlation between poverty and crime in America, there is also a correlation between not having a loving relationship with your biological father and crime. Something like the numbers are astounding. There are great books that really talk about these things. One by Warren Farrell, The Myth of Male Power, which is one of the best books I've ever read. Uh, Another good book by a lady named Doreen Virtue, How to Heal Your Father's Issues. These are real issues that either people don't understand or don't want to deal with. Sometimes when this comes up, people attack instead of saying, looking at the issues or looking it up. It is a non-issue, that non-debatable issue, that without love in your heart for your mother or your father, it affects you in a negative way. And women who have these issues, it's many times, I mean, nothing is absolute, but it comes out. It comes out. And you don't want to be with an acrimonious wife. If you're seriously thinking you need a psychologically solid wife, you don't have to be extravagant or overbearing and money and all this. You just have to be a good person and to be able to work and provide, if you be ready to relocate. In my opinion, that's number 3. Hugely important. Hugely important. If you can live with her in her country for years, you're doing yourself a great service by doing that. That'll let you know so many things right there. Now, number 2, and this is hugely important. This could be number 1, being able to speak the language, being able to speak Spanish. A Dominican woman can be a great person if you can speak the language. The culture is deeply patriarchal, so it's crucial for you to learn the dialect. There are many ethnic variations here, and you can count on her solid personality and natural elegance as well. Now, this is going to be upsetting for some people. However, people who have lived here for a while, I think, understand this. If a woman in the Dominican Republic speaks English, pretty good English or English, it is important for you to know why and how did she learn English. You must know why she can speak English very well. Now, if it's because of employment, if it's because of school, if it's because of, many of those variables where it is necessary to speak English. But if a woman says to you, I just learned it in the street, your antennas need to be up. I would guess that 99% of people who say, I just learned it in the street, or I don't know, they're very vague about it. I have a term called chicken killers. Now, chicken killers are special. I'm going to give you a short story. There was this guy, and he had a whole bunch of chickens. And this dog had some puppies. About a month passed by, the dog gets a little big. One little dog, out of the 6 puppies, one little dog goes and kills every chicken he can catch. A little puppy. So the owner has to make a decision. The owner has to get rid of this dog. If he doesn't put them down, he has to sell them. He has to give them away because this dog has it in his blood. This dog will kill chickens for the rest of his life. This dog, nothing will keep this dog from salivating when he sees a chicken. He's going to be killing chickens till he dies. Now, this story applies to some of the women who speak great English. If they've been in these tourist areas and they've been, how can I say this? They've just been ladies of the night. They've just been out there. They are chicken killers. And we've all known of people can change, but it's very difficult, when you'll be like, all I gotta do is go out here. If I want a phone, all I gotta do is go out here and kill some chickens and get that phone. In other words, it's in their blood. They've been a chicken killer for so long, so many of them gonna die chicken killers. And besides, most guys don't want to be with chicken killers anyway. So I think it's important to know, how does she speak English so well or whatever. I believe that, and there's studies have been done about women who've kind of been ladies of the night, how it's hard for them to coalesce in a relationship. This is also true for look out for women who, and I mentioned this earlier, who always have their hand. There's a word here for that, but they got 5,000 male friends on social media, and no female friends, very few female friends. You got to watch out for that. And I think some women have all these cousins. So it's important for you to speak the language also. So you'll understand what people are talking about. And I've always said this, you have to infuse yourself into the culture. You have to amalgamate into the culture to really get a grasp. And speaking culture transmits, language transmits culture. There's a guy out of Kenya. His name is Ngugi wa Thiong'o. And he wrote a book years ago. It was called Decolonizing the Mind. And he would always talk about the linguistics and how important understanding the language was, understanding how language transmits culture. And that is so true in the Dominican Republic. There are certain words that just don't do well in translation. But stay away from chicken killers and pinball machines. Don't be so naive to where you don't pay attention to these things. But the number one most important thing, which I think it's not absolute, but it cuts out a lot of stuff. It cuts out a large percentage of bad apples. And that is, if you're going to marry a woman, I would say it this way. What type of woman would you marry in the United States? Would you marry a girl right out of the projects? Would you marry a girl that hasn't been doing anything for the last 5, 10, whatever years? Probably not. So, and I think we're shooting ourselves in the foot when we don't look at these things. And the number one is a woman having economic independence and stability beyond you. That is, in my opinion, one of the most important variables, because more than likely, I mean, you can't even get, like, for instance, if you wanted to go to a job, first thing they're going to look at is your history. What have you been doing? And when I say economic independence, I'm not talking about just, doing a little hair out their house or doing nails. You get with somebody who's haven't done anything in their whole life, that speaks volumes. And there are so many professional people. Are some of these professional people bad apples? Yes. Like I said, I'm not talking in absolutes. Some men even believe that all the women are the same. No. Visiting a place and living in a place is two different worlds. Above all, one of the qualities of a good wife is knowing that her home has to be a safe place for you, for her, for family to grow. She has to have that spirit. And there are so many professional people here. I'm going to go ahead and say it. So many men come to the country and don't consider that. Oh, that ain't important. That affects her psychology. Why not have a woman that has a certain degree of intelligence? Why not, marry a woman? There are guys who've worked all their lives and they'll come over here and get with a woman that ain't never had a job. And I'm here to tell you, there are a lot of schools here. There are a lot of people. If people want to work here, people can. And one thing that I think people try to compare the United States to the Dominican Republic and go, well, the jobs aren't that. No, they're not the same. It's like me going to Dubai. They just make more money than Americans do. But that is huge. So deal with somebody who has had stability, especially if she's, not 18 or 20. Yeah, you meet a woman who's 30 years old and she doesn't have a work ethic. You go, what have you been doing these 12 years? Well, anyway, I hope that some of this can help some of you guys search for a good wife, and have good qualities as a wife. I hope some of the attributes in what I'm saying is going to help some of you guys make the right decision. But thank you, and please subscribe.